Welcome to GeoOmega Virtual Learning Platform. This is lesson 3, the last lesson on completing the square. I would like to suggest, if you haven't watched the first 2 lessons, please pause this video and go and watch them, because this lesson is just using the 2 previous lessons to solve equations. In this lesson, we'll be talking about how to use completing the square to solve quadratic equation, where the coefficient of x squared equals 1, and also where coefficient of x squared is more than 1, and also how to use completing the square to sketch quadratic graph. First example, how do we solve x squared minus 8x plus 15 equals 0? There are several ways of solving quadratic equation, but for this session, we are only using completing the square to solve the equation. And also, there are also different ways of using completing the square to solve equation. But this method I'm suggesting is, because we've learned how to complete a square, we're just going to complete the square. Then from there, we continue to solve the equation. So we just start by completing the square. Our b is 8, so we divide 8 by 2. That gives us 4, and you should by now know your formula and how to substitute the values of b over 2. And all you need to do is whatever you write is equal to 0, because you're solving equation. That's the only difference. Continue computing your numbers. 4 squared, 16. So we have minus 16 plus 15. Work that out, and that gives you x minus 4 all squared minus 1, then equal to 0. That is the end of completing the square. We're now going to continue to solve equation by adding 1 to both sides. So we have x minus 4 all squared equals 1. We need to now find the square root of both sides to cancel off the square. So take square root of both sides. That gives us x minus 4 equals plus or minus 1. Remember, when you find square root of a positive number, you have both positive and negative answers. So to work out x, we add 4 to both sides. So x equals plus or minus 1 plus 4. That will help us split our answer into 2. First x is positive 1 plus 4 equals 5. Second x is negative 1 plus 4 equals 3. You can double check by substituting 5 into the equation, and it will sum up to 0. You can also check the same using 3. That will also sum up to 0. Also, where we are asked to leave our answer in set form, that means the answer has to be exact. We are not using a calculator to compute it, so it has to be exact. So the same principle. Our b is 12. 12 divided by 2 gives us 6. So b over 2 is 6. Substitute into the formula. This is what you have. 6 squared, 36. So minus 36. Take away 54. It gives you negative 90. So that's completing the square. Finished. We are now going to solve the equation by adding 90 to both sides. We now need to take the square root of both sides. So when you take the square root of both sides, you are not allowed to have a square under a square root sign. So the biggest square number in 90 is 9. So 9 times 10 is 90. Square root of 9 is 3. So 90 times 10, root of that will give you 3 root 10. 3 root 10, positive or negative. So we have x plus 6 equals plus or minus 3 root 10. To find x, take away 6 from both sides. Negative 6 plus or minus 3 root 10. Or you can make it plus or minus 3 root 10 minus 6. They are the same. So our first answer is negative 6 plus 3 root 10. Our second answer is negative 6 minus 3 root 10. This is what we call an exact answer in set form. What about where a is bigger than 1. We need to recall what we did in lesson 2, where we have to factor out the coefficient of x squared. Factor out 3. We end up dividing 1 by 3 because 1 is not a multiple of 3, like we explained in lesson 2. So we continue computing the square. Work out 1 over 6 squared. Expand the bracket where 3 multiplies 2 of the terms in the bracket. These are the 2 terms in the bracket. Next, we need to work out 3 into bracket 1 over 36. Next, we need to work out negative 1 over 12 minus 3. Now, we need to add 37 over 12 to both sides. We now solve the equation now. Then we need to get rid of multiplying by 3, because 3 is multiplying the bracket, so it goes to the other side to divide, or we divide both sides by 3. That's what we have. Now we find the square root of both sides. Note, square root of 36 is 6, and you are not allowed to have a perfect square and the square root sign. That's why root 37 over 36 gives us positive or negative root 37 over 6. Now to work out x, we add 1/6 to both sides. And to split our answer into 2, first x will be equal to 1 plus root 37 over 6. I've merged the denominators because they have a common denominator. Our second x is 1 minus root 37 over 6. So this is the answer in set 4. Now let's look at a situation where we have to rearrange everything to the format of ax squared plus bx plus c. So to make sure this is equal to 0, we have to take away 2x squared from both sides and add 2 to both sides. And when you do that, you're going to have a new expression, which is 3x squared minus 6x plus 5 equals 0. And we now start completing the square. Focus on the first 2 terms by factoring out 3. Now b is 16 over 3. 16 over 3 divided by 2 to complete the square. Simplified, 16 over 3 divided by 2 gives you 8 over 3. Now compute 8 over 3 squared. Compute this. That's what we have. Next is expand the bracket. 3 multiply 2 of the 2 different terms in the bracket. Next is work out 3 into bracket 64 over 9. Work out what that will be. Now work out negative 64 over 3 plus 5. Negative 64 over 3 plus 5. Now we need to add 49 over 3 to both sides of the equation. We are now solving the equation. We need to divide both sides by 3 to get rid of this 3. Take the square root of both sides. And that will give us x minus 8 over 3 equals plus or minus 7 over 3. Remember, square root of 49 is 7. Square root of 9 is 3. Add 8 over 3 to both sides. Now to get our answer, our first x is 8 over 3 plus 7 over 3. That works out as 5. And the second one, 8 over 3 minus 7 over 3, also works out as 1/3. So our x is equal to 5 or 1/3. Now, how do we sketch quadratic graph using completing the square? We start by completing the square. as we normally do. Okay, now we know from lesson 1 that our minimum point is the opposite of +7 as the x coordinate as -7, and the exact number outside the bracket as the y coordinate. So that is the minimum point of the curve. Let's solve the equation to find the roots of the equation. So we add 87 to both sides. Let's square both sides. We have x plus 7 equals plus or minus root 87. Take away 7 from both sides. So our first x is -7 plus root 87. Our second x is -7 minus root 87. So now we are going to sketch the graph. We know our y-intercept is -38 from the original equation. If you look at the function, this is the intercept, -38. The roots of the equation is our x. We have it there. And the turning point is -7, -87. So we need to sort of sketch the graph. So first is our intercept, -38. Second is our roots. Now, you need to do a bit of computation here. Think of root 87. The closest square number is 81. And root 81 is 9. So -7 plus 9 is a positive number. That's why this mark has to be on this side. Now, if you take it to be roughly -9 minus 7 is a negative number. That's why it's also on that side. So that's how you manage to know where your roots will be. Now, turning point. We know the coordinate is 7, -7, and -8. Sorry, it's -7. It should be -7. So it's -7 and -87. So that is the turning point. So all you need to do is draw the curve to match that. Apologies for the wrong typo. This should be -7. Not 7, -7. So this is how we sketch quadratic graphs. That brings us to the end of completing the square lesson. Share and subscribe. Hope you find this useful. Look forward to the next topic that I'll be treating on this channel. Post your questions or anything that you want to be discussed, and I'll do my best and see if I can post video on that. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks. Bye.